So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And what must be said was a bad night for Aston Villa, losing 1-0 to a very, very good Club Brugge team, but in a manner that I will be here until next year trying to figure out how a referee or how that whole incident happens for the penalty. And I'm not even going to go into it because there's going to be two sides to this. There's going to be a big pile on Mings saying they're stupid for picking up the ball, and there's going to be another side saying the referee's a dickhead. So I'm not going to look. Penalty was absolutely stupid. There's a lot more things to talk about in this game that to me were way more worrying. Because before the game, I wanted this to be a professional performance. I wanted to be a performance whereby Aston Villa went out and kind of righted a few wrongs, and they absolutely didn't. And what I found today was from minute one to when they scored the goal. There's two parts to this game. Minute one to when they scored the goal, and then after they scored the goal. But from minute one until they scored the goal, I found a slow, ponderous, and I'm going to use a word that I don't use that often. We were arrogant tonight, and we were a bad arrogant tonight. Because we decided we were just going to pass it around and hope something happened, and just keep it. And we're like tried to kind of pass it around with a bully boy tactic, and they nearly caught us on the break a couple of times in the first half. Our shape work was nowhere near right. Our formation, our setup, our spacing in midfield was woeful. Ollie Watkins was completely and utterly ostracised up top on his own. And look, I'm going to say it as well. He didn't do enough in the game today either to get himself involved. He had one shot that went wide. He got to the back post, the head went across the box, and we had no one in the box again. You know, there was a very disjointed performance across the lines tonight. And again, that comes. We go back to the Spurs game, very disjointed in how we moved as a unit, very disjointed as a back four. Against Crystal Palace, exactly the same. You know, not creating chances, not even looking like creating chances. Happy to pass it up until we get to 30 yards outside the goals, and then hope that something happens, or pass it around between ourselves, lose it, and have to scamper back for against a counter attack. You know, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. And the amount of times we did that tonight, that's why I used the word arrogant. You know, you can't just keep on trying. It's like you gotta trust the process. Don't get me wrong. And I think that it was just really frustrating. It was frustrating for everybody bar the players that seemed to be outside there. They were just willing to try that. Maybe the players are tired. I don't know. There was changes made to the team. Maybe all the travel, maybe all the midweek games and stuff like that. I don't know, but there's a lot of this active resting, or this active defense or resting defense that happens, and we haven't been able to turn on the afterburners or to pull up the handbrake, or to take off the handbrake, should I say, when we're in attack this year, like we were last year, and that our transitions have been exceedingly poor outside of the first maybe 5-6 weeks of the season. They've been really I'll go so far as to say they've been really poor since the 0-0 draw at Manchester United. And there was a noticeable drop off in performances tonight, specifically after we conceded the goal. We just went full panic, bringing on John Duran again. John Duran comes on for a second time in the second game, purely anonymous, playing him up top with Ollie Watkins. It's, for me, I'm yet to see that there's anything at all that the two of them can do together in the same team. And that people might say that sounds hyperbolic, that might be over the top or whatever, but the element of surprise from bringing on subs like that, the finishers situation is gone from the team at the moment. And that's annoying, because that was our ace up our sleeve. And look, you know, I suppose in my heart of hearts I always knew that it was never going to last forever. Can't, because teams, like, there's a reason other managers are in jobs. They can adjust to stuff like that. but I bringing him on with Watkins isn't working at the moment either. But I'm going to go back to first principles here again. My overarching feeling about the game tonight is we had absolutely no width. We could get the ball to a certain level, and then we had no pace to get it on any further. I'm going to come back to what I've been saying over the last couple of days. This team is going to be nothing going forward without a right back. We need a right back. We need a right back. We need to be able to play that with Leon Bailey. Also playing Leon Bailey into form, which we've spoken about it. I heard Jacob Tanswell spoke about it. I was a big fan of it. I'm beginning to lose patience with playing him into form at the moment. He's not playing well at all. And how much longer can we wait for that? How much longer can we wait for Leon Bailey to come to start playing well, for Ramsey to start playing well? There needs to be changes. And I'm not saying personnel changes, there needs to be a tactical shake-up. If you're not going to play a right back, then we're going to need to find some way to get some proper width on that side. Because when the ball goes out to Bailey, he's out in the touchline, he's a million miles away from Watkins, and he's not taking on his men anymore. All he wants to do is cut in and take a shot with his left foot. He's not confident. He doesn't have the confidence to take on his man anymore. Jacob Ramsey comes on the other side. Okay, and I go back to the John McGinn piece that I said at the start of the game. And hindsight is 2020. But I said I was worried about him having to be the Swiss Army knife. I said it's a positive, but it's also going to become a negative. He was ineffectual on that left-hand side. Was. We just the structure and the shape, specifically attacking, was just devoid tonight. There was nothing there. There's nothing there. In what has to be said was against a really well-drilled Club Brugge team. Really well-drilled Club Brugge team. And look, guys, I'm seeing on Twitter, there isn't a person to play tonight that somebody hasn't suggested we sell. That's not the answer. Players aren't bad players overnight. This is the team that got us to fourth place. We can't just go out and sell them all. I think that's pretty silly, and I'm going to put a pin in that. You guys can believe it. I don't believe it, and I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to share it. But I think that there's definite tactical changes that can be made here, for sure. And there should be. And there should be some tactical changes here that can be made. But it all starts with, can we please put our best centre half in at centre half, please? Can we please do that? And play a right back at right back? I've seen enough of Mr. Carlos again. Just seen enough. Can't pass the ball out from the back either. Anyway. Paddy's here, so I'll save you guys having to listen to me ramble for much longer. I'm going to bring in Paddy, and I'm sure Paddy has some views on. Show you some views on that penalty, Paddy. A bit of a nonsense, really, isn't it? But you can see why it's given, even though they don't get given against Arsenal.
It was a stonewall penalty. It was stupidity. I can't understand why Emi Martinez didn't scream at him when he started to put his hands down. But sure. Look, it's just I've had a really bad day, and this has just really topped it off for me today. It's one of those days where I wish I didn't get out of bed. But anyway, I'm not gonna offer much more than what you've just said. Really, I'm fuming at a lot of things. I'm fuming that we can't put our best team on the pitch, and we haven't done in a while. And I don't believe for 1 minute that Diego Carlos has any business being out there. It disjoints the whole bloody thing. If we can't play Carlos at right centre back, who's arguably our best player at the moment,
Konza,
our best player available. If you say to me, name me 2 players that we can't afford to lose: Emi Martinez, Konza. The rest of them are none of them are doing well. Consistently from my point of view, and yet we persist in playing him out of position. He was caught once as well, which he is in every game, and he ends up playing someone onside because he's caught between two minds about where he should be.
Yeah, 3 times tonight. Yeah,
just outright back. One anyway. It definitely one that we got away with that I nearly scored from. I worry more for what's going to happen Saturday if we play like that. There's something not right. There's something not clicking. The decisions that have been made in game, and look, we always say it. We will support him until he proves us otherwise. But I think tonight was tactically wrong, and some of the players that were out there didn't deserve to be out there. And there is not one person in this world will convince me that the right decision was to play Leon Bailey for 90 minutes, because he offered absolutely nothing.
Absolutely
Even when he got
nothing.
into the best position of the night, on whatever it was, 88 minutes, he just tipped the ball back into the hands of Mignolet. I'm at a loss to even try and explain where everything has gone wrong. It's not like we were in a really intense atmosphere either, because I was actually would have loved to go there, although there was no chance of getting tickets tonight. There was no atmosphere there until we fucking gifted them the goal and let them back into the game. And I'm not even going to go down the road of getting started on this referee, but if that's the best referee they can produce out of Germany, I think we know and expect that we are never, ever
the other one's a
going
match
to get
fixer.
a referee at any level. They're all absolutely useless. Like,
Yeah,
you're telling me that Mings can't go for a header, win a header, and protect himself, and that's a yellow card. And don't even
then
get me
book Diego
started
Carlos
on what
for it
Carlos
as
got
well.
the yellow card for. Absolutely stupid yellow card from Carlos. So in the space of 20 seconds, we get both our centre halves put on yellow cards when one shouldn't have done it. When a yellow card, you'd want to be booking somebody and leaving them in a heap on the ground, not giving out to the referee. Although he was right, that is not that we don't do that. As a team, we don't do it anyway. We don't overstep the mark with referees. So it was a stupid error on his behalf. Everyone is giving out about Arsenal not getting that penalty against them last year, and us getting it. He made that decision correctly tonight. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can say. There was a very high-profile one shared all over social media. I can tell you exactly who it was, because it was Gurterfurt, a team that I support in Germany, who did it, and it's only a couple of weeks ago, and yet we did that. I just can't get my head around how stupid it is. But look, I honestly, I'm worried. I'm worried about how we stop the rot here, because I think is that 4 defeats in a row?
No, should we drew against Bournemouth?
True, but it's three defeats in a row. Maybe I'm counting Saturday already. The way I'm feeling, I just feel defeated after. I just don't see any.
Like there's going to be a back and forth, and there's going to be a tennis match all over Twitter tonight about who's to blame, and it's not even about blame. It's about, like, the more I think about the word I used, and I was reticent to use it at the start, but there was an air of arrogance out there tonight, and I don't like that. I didn't like that. No. When we first, like, at the start in the first half and stuff like that, we're passing the ball around the place, and we had no tempo. It was a case of, right, we'll play around here, we'll score a goal, we'll go back to England, and that's it. That's 12 points on top. I don't know. I got that feeling from it. I really did get that feeling that there was players out there that, it just, maybe they didn't have it, but maybe they didn't have the energy for it, but they certainly weren't showing like that they were trying to give their effort. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, Unai Emery shouldn't have changed up the team." I genuinely, like, I cannot sit here after talking about potential changes in the preview, and then say that he was wrong to make those changes in the post match. That doesn't sit well with me. Other people can do that all they want, but the players are put out in the field, and there was no spark there tonight. Tielemans couldn't get things going. The amount of times you hit the first man from open play or from set pieces was just, that was shocker. The amount of times you hit the first man, there was no one beside Watkins all night. Watkins was literally on his own up top. The spacing was all wrong. It was not a good night at the office. And if Aston Villa went out into that game and said, right, so listen, look, we're going to use this as one of our active resting games. We're just getting tonked against Spurs at the weekend, and we've got Liverpool. Well, then more egg on their face, and don't do that. Like, we're not a good enough team to do that. Maybe Man City can do it. Maybe Liverpool can do it in certain instances. We're not a good enough team to do that at all yet. And you said, and I kind of winced and kind of gritted my teeth when you said about paying a competition the respect, and I'm obviously talking without any evidence of this or anything like that. But if you do that in games, If you go out there and you're there, right, so we're doing this kind of like active recovery kind of situation here. We're going to use this game for active recovery, and we're going to pass the ball around. We're going to own it and everything like that. And then, we're going to score that goal. And we're going to shut up shop, and we're just going to beat Bruges. We're going to come home. That's fine. That's not showing respect to the competition, the biggest competition in club football. And I've no evidence to believe that they did that, but I've also no evidence to believe that those players went out in that field today and that was absolutely the best they could do. As well. So we're in a rut, as people said, and it's interesting to see how the players are going to pull themselves out of this, because Unai Emery has pulled one or two players out of a rut himself with tactical situations and stuff like that. But there comes a time when there's leadership on the field, and we didn't really have it tonight, and that's where that came from, I think, as well. So, a bit of a 3 steps backwards kind of performance tonight, I think, when I was looking for a 1 step forward, prior to the game, and look, yeah, as I say, I know there's people going to pick up on what I said there and use of the word arrogant and stuff like that, but the context of it, I've just tried to explain it there, that it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, when you do that. If you're playing scared, or if you're playing arrogant, they're the two ways that kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. And I can't decipher between which way Aston Villa played today, with Liverpool on the horizon and then after getting a tonkin from Spurs last weekend. But that's where leaders come. That's where leaders come up on the field. And as I say, my biggest takeaway from this, and it will be my biggest takeaway all year. So if you don't want to hear me say we need a right back, or we need to play our right back at right back and play our best centre half in the centre half position, I think that's going to be on broken record repeat for the rest of the season, because to me it's just blindingly obvious that a lot of the shape comes from that defence, comes from our play from defence, and Kanza is a good organizer in there as well, and when we don't have him there, we just don't look the same. There's my TED talk. Everybody, you can agree with it or not. That's the beauty of discourse. But I hope everybody here isn't.
I heard you say just before I was trying to get online about playing Bailey into form. Why is he not playing Nedeljkovic into form? That's blatantly obvious. That's where the issue is. So play him into form. If Cash doesn't make Saturday squad, he's got to play Nedeljkovic. He has to play him for me. There was very few players put their hands up and said that they were calm, composed, or measured on the ball. I try picking a man of the match. Virtually impossible.
I think our best player tonight was Kamara.
I think. Well, yeah, you probably have a good point there. And while we had those poor free kicks, I didn't think Tielemans was too bad either. But those free kicks have to be better, and they were tired free kicks, and they were happening early in the game. And it wasn't just Tielemans; it was Bailey's corners as well. Didn't clear the first man. All of these kind of things, it was a shit show from start to finish. And I feel sorry for all those people who spent an awful lot of money and an awful lot of heartache trying to get tickets and build up everything they had last year to watch us playing away in the Champions League. And now I know they're going to have a great night anyway. That's a given. But the football shouldn't ruin that experience for them. And look, I hope everybody gets home safely, and that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
But I think we're all entitled to be as pissed off as we'd like to be. You mentioned Twitter. I won't be going near it for a while, because the way I'm feeling, I could say the wrong thing very easily too. It's tough. It's a tough watch. I don't see how we're going to recover. For once, the international break could come at a really good time and give us that little bit of hope that we can get some players rested and get some players up to speed. And that's my only hope for now, that we can get back to winning ways after the international break, because I really don't see this happen Saturday. We're not in a good place, and it's going to be bloody difficult against the league leaders.
Well, I'm going to tell you what we play on Saturday. And look, now I'm being arrogant after my fucking conversations about arrogant. Here's what you do, Naomi. Throw away your game plan for Saturday that you've probably been putting into place for the last week and a half or whatever. Throw it all away, and literally just pack that midfield. We've no width as it is, and if you're going to be playing, if you're going to go McGinn one side and Ramsey the other side, Why not pack that midfield? I want Kamara in that team at the weekend. I want Onana in that team at the weekend. I want Tielemans in that team at the weekend. I want Rodgers in that team at the weekend. I want somebody to find a way to make that work.
Well, it's easy. It's easy. You play Tielemans instead of Bailey, and play him in that role that he played last year so very bloody well. And you. But
I don't think going with the whatever the 4-4-1-1 formation, I think that could be a contributing factor to this because there's no surprise factor with it. I'm thinking go back to your. Remember last year there was and this isn't the reaction to just playing as Liverpool, but remember last year at times you'd see the team would find its way into a 6 at the back shape because we had that box midfield and teams were like looking at you going, what the fuck are they doing here? Now all of a sudden we'd break very quickly. I don't think there's a what the fuck are they doing here aspect to our team at the moment. And it's not that we've been found out or anything like that. I think that, maybe we just that there needs to be a situation whereby I think we need to have teams guessing. Like there wasn't a whole lot of guessing from Club Brugge today. They filtered us out wide. We couldn't really do much in the middle. I thought Maatsen huffed and puffed today, but like he couldn't get anything going with his speed.
No space. Couldn't do what he used to do.
They just formed two banks of four, or two banks of a bank of 5 and a bank of 4. That's all they did, and they didn't do much out of that. Their 2 centre halves, I must say, were brilliant. I did call both of them out before the game. I thought they were really good. But we couldn't like there was no one beside Watkins, and everybody was trying to get into space between the bank of 4 and the bank of 5 to try and pick up the ball, and we couldn't pass through that line either. And then when we did, you turn around, you're looking at Watkins, and he was blanketed completely. There was no one near him. So, it was easy from Club Brugge, and that was the worrying part. We didn't give them anything to think about, from that point of view, and we didn't do it to Spurs either. Specifically in the second half, we gave them nothing to think about. We gave Palace nothing to think about, and again we lost there as well. We gave Man United very little to think about. Yeah, we had a couple of chances in that game, but we couldn't create that big enough chance that we could kill that game off. And that's the issue. That's the worrying point for me. Is we need to find a way to get a spark, to give them somebody, like to create an extra overlap somewhere, maybe through the middle, maybe. And this isn't the first time it happened, because it happened on the stretch last year. The last few games, we weren't giving people much to think about. We were tired. We're putting it down to tiredness and stuff, which it was. I think there just needs to be a little bit of a change up. Maybe go with a flat 4-3-3 the weekend. Pin their defenders right back. I don't know. Maybe go with a 3 at the back. I'm not saying something as radical as 3 at the back. Actually, I don't think that's what we need to do. But give them something to think about. Like, why are you playing Kamara and Onana in there? Or where is Tielemans? Like you said, maybe Tielemans pops up on that right hand side. And starts coming in off that right hand side. Maybe starts dragging Trent into that, or maybe if they play Trent and they pull him into that inverted role, maybe Tielemans goes and sits them. They're like, why are they sitting Tielemans here on him? Give them something to think about. Give them something to wonder about. Why do they want him picking up this person here? Because at the moment we are very structured, and that's one of our positive points, is that Unai has a structure. We weren't against Spurs at the weekend, but it also, we're not giving the team anything to think about. Anything to react to. But anyway, look, if this was a 0-0 draw, I'd nearly go so far as well to say, Paddy, is I might be as full of piss and vinegar as I am now if this was a 0-0 draw as well, because I started off with the penalty at the start. I said, listen, look, you guys can discuss that amongst yourselves. We spoke about the penalty, but for me, there's more. The more about this for me is the way we played, the atmosphere of how it came off our play, the vibe that came off our play, and the fact that we couldn't get anything going just didn't sit right with me. I don't know.
The whole thing from start to finish. Like I could not tell you a player that reached more than a 6 out of 10, and even at that, there's probably only 1 or 2 that got a 6 out of 10 for me. But a question for you, Neil: if the referee gives that penalty, why does he not send off Mings?
That's what I'm saying. It's a definite sending off. Second yellow card, and it's a sending off. Yeah. And if the referee doesn't give the penalty, the players go to the referee and say he's after picking up the ball, and the referee and then he went instead of going like that, and then he called for VAR, and then VAR gave it, and then he gave the penalty. But look, again, look,
we never restarted the game, so he was entitled to ask VAR did it happen.
I know, yeah. But and there's the other one.
Technically.
Well, we did restart the game because Tyrone Mings kicks the ball out.
So we should have waited till the ball went out of play.
Restarted. The game was restarted, so we were in a different phase of play. I don't know. I'm joking. I'm being facetious with regards to that. Like, but it's like if this is a 0-0, I still think I'd be as annoyed, stroke, worried, I suppose, really about the lack of spark as I am now. So it's not just the result. It's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah, kind of sick of talking about it now. I'm going to be honest, and this is 90% Codeine talking as well here. Codeine overdose nearly talking at the moment as well, so take that into account. But I must say, I do want to give some credit to Bruges. I thought their halves were excellent, and that Ecuadorian centre half Ordonez gave no quarter, asked for no quarter today. He was a fine player, centre half. They had some nice players. Yeah, he was one of them. He was a very, very fine player. I thought at centre half.
Regardless of how good you think they were, we made them look better than they probably
were.
Oh,
yeah.
And we were awful from start to finish. There's no other two ways about it. It's up to the brains trust now to sort this out, get us back on track. Otherwise, we could be I think we'll have enough to get through this Champions League phase, but we wouldn't be going any further playing the way we are. It's it's soul destroying to do it a couple of games in a row, and just the shit show of giving away that penalty. It couldn't be more Spursy if it didn't dress us up like Spurs. Oh wait, they actually did dress us up like Spurs.
White jerseys. Yeah, look, and look, by no means are we saying that the team can't kick on from here, or can't figure this out. It's just we're talking about this in an isolated game. Obviously, we're talking about this isolated game, but obviously referencing the pattern we're seeing over the last 5 or 6 games, like Paddy has mentioned. And so I put up there 1 win in the last 7 is what we've seen. So there does need to be changes. Not so much personnel. I don't think personnel changes are going to kick it. It needs to be spark. It needs to be tactical changes. It needs to be shaped, spacing changes. There needs to be something, because this isn't the first game that Watkins has just been up front all on his own with no one within an ass's roar of him. And if there is, it's usually because Rodgers has made that long busting run, broken pass, carry the ball 10, 15 yards, given out to Dina and gotten up beside Watkins. We don't get enough people up around him. And until we do that, and I firmly believe as well, until we sort out that right-hand side, we're not going to be able to get that pace, get people up there either, because it's very predictable what's happening on that right-hand side every single time. And arguably it's very predictable on the left-hand side as well when Jacob Ramsey is there too, or when John McGinn is there too as well. So something I thought would be a plus point today, having Maatsen. He didn't take on his man at all, really. He got up and down the field, all right. Like, I'm not saying he played poorly, but, when you have that pace, we couldn't utilise it because he was just coming up against the wall. And they knew exactly what was happening. And neither can Bailey, because, he's they were coming up against the wall and we couldn't utilise him. So they knew what was happening, essentially. Yeah. I'm getting it. Anyway, Paddy, I got to go. My eyes are actually closing here, so I got to go. And thanks a million, everybody, for listening to the ramblings of me. Anyway, I know I didn't give Paddy much. More than most times, I didn't give him much time to speak tonight.
Well, I did take 5 minutes to calm down, and I did message you and go, if I come on straight away, I'm going to be deleted here. So,
yeah, I didn't think you were going to come on at all. That's why. So I built myself up in a head of steam. So, yeah.
Look, right. It's tough to take, and I know everybody says it. We're probably way ahead of where we thought we'd ever be, and while it's not enjoyable at the moment, I'm still on the side of that this will eventually come good again. With nearly everybody at our disposal, is that the problem? Are people frightened of losing their positions? I don't know, but that's up to Unai to sort out now. And as always, we do trust him. We know he's the best we can possibly get, and nobody's trying to sell players or saw some
100%.
Well, there are a couple of players that I would gladly sell, but as somebody quite rightly says, it's November, we can't sell anybody. But we will no doubt be strengthening in January. Otherwise, we won't be having a second year in the Champions League unless we go and win the bloody thing.
Yeah, I think so too. Just a bit of housekeeping as well. It's unlikely you're going to see my mush the weekend. We will do a preview show. Well, I haven't asked Paddy if he's around to do a preview show. I'll do a preview show for Liverpool between gritted teeth, I think, at the moment. But it's unlikely you're going to see my mush on Saturday for a Team Sheet Tantrum or for a post-match podcast. But if in the event that you do, just keep an eye on social media. We'll let you know. It may be another situation. This week has just been chronic for me. Last couple of weeks have been absolutely chronic for me. And as Paddy said, and I know I've been talking to Paddy all day today, Paddy could have done without today, I think, and that's all we'll allude to. I think he could have done without today. So but yeah, look, hey, Saturday's another day. We thought we'd all get smashed by Bayern Munich as well. We went out, beat them 1-0. So we always have that sting in our tail, like when the chips are down against the big teams. So let's see if we can go and play up to it at the weekend. Which I'm going to call it, Paddy, before my eyes shut and I fall asleep
Go for it.
Live in the stream. Thanks a million, everyone, for watching and for listening. It's been a tough game tonight, tough result, but more so a tough watch. I'm more than confident that Unai Emery can tweak this up and get us playing well again. And I'm sure that's going to start again on Saturday. So join us again for a preview show, and we'll let you know how the Team Sheet Tantrum and the post-match podcast will go over the weekend. But until then, just before I fall asleep, I tried to stifle that yawn since before Paddy came on, but it just came out at the very end. Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.